Okay, let's unpack this. Picture it. Just a normal Friday night, Dubai Marina, all the lights, people relaxing, weekend starting.
Right. Pretty standard scene for Dubai.
And then, bam, just like that, everything changes. You look up and there's this huge skyscraper just consumed by flames, alarms going off everywhere, people running, sheer panic.
Yeah, it's like something straight out of a disaster movie, but frighteningly real for thousands of people just a few days back.
Absolutely. And that terrifying reality, that's what we're digging into today based on our source material. We're looking at a YouTube video transcript. It's titled, Mass Evacuation in Dubai, Marina Skyscraper Fire Shocks the World, Panic in the Streets. Comes from the channel Wild Weather US, and it covers what happened on June 13th, 2025.
Right. So our mission for this deep dive is basically to take that source, that transcript, which captures eyewitness accounts of reporting from the video, and really pull out the key information.
What does it actually tell us happened?
Exactly. What does this source say about how the fire started at the Marina Pinnacle, how it spread so fast? What was it like for the people inside? The terror they must have felt.
And the response, too, right? The emergency services.
Absolutely. The response, and maybe what lessons the video highlights, about building safety, being prepared in these huge urban areas.
Okay, so the building itself, Marina Pinnacle, it's massive. 67 stories, residential tower, right in the thick of Dubai Marina.
Crime location.
And the transcript, our source, it pinpoints when this all kicked off just before 10:00 p.m. local time, Friday, June 13th.
And that timing, 10 p.m. on a Friday, is really significant, as the source points out. Most people wouldn't be out. They'd be home.
Yeah, winding down, maybe getting ready for bed, families, pets.
It wasn't some office block emptying out. These were people's homes suddenly becoming this inferno.
It's chilling, and how quickly it all went bad, according to this video transcript. It's just staggering. The source suggests the fire seemed to start somewhere up high, on an upper floor.
But the thing that leaps out, and the source really stresses this, is the speed. The incredible speed it spread. It wasn't a slow burn. It just raced up the outside of the building.
And the descriptions in the transcript, the visuals, they sound, well, apocalyptic. Huge plumes of thick black smoke pouring into the sky. You could see it for miles, apparently.
Yeah, across the city.
And these bright orange flames just climbing the tower floor after floor incredibly fast, like a terrible torch in the skyline.
The source talks about the conditions right there on the ground, too, and inside. Falling debris, burning bits raining down from way up.
Terrifying.
And that smoke. Thick, choking smoke, cutting visibility down to almost nothing. Especially dangerous in the stairwells, which, that's your main way out in a fire like this.
I can't even imagine being inside. The transcript really goes into the experience for residents, and it sounds like pure chaos and terror. Alarms start blaring, then smoke just fills the corridors.
Turning familiar hallways into these blind, dangerous traps.
And think about the time. Again, people totally caught off guard. This wasn't some fire drill they were expecting.
Right.
The source says people were literally scrambling out barefoot, in pajamas, just grabbing maybe their phone and running down flight after flight of stairs.
Yeah, the witness accounts mentioned in the source sound just harrowing. Someone apparently called the scene outside their window infernal. Flames right there.
Oh.
Others talking about smoke just pouring into their apartments, finding its way through vents under doors. And the video itself, the transcript says, showed burning debris falling, and you could hear people screaming down below. Just awful.
It forces these impossible choices, doesn't it? In seconds. The source highlights how many people just ran with, well, basically nothing. Maybe their phone.
Yeah, just survival mode.
Passports, laptops, wallets, even vital medications. All left behind in the panic. And pets, too, heartbreakingly. Many had to leave pets behind, at least initially.
Which must have been agony.
But then, here's where the story, at least according to this source, shifts a bit. From just the horror towards something. Well, pretty remarkable, actually.
Right, the evacuation.
Yeah, despite the absolute terror and chaos, the evacuation itself, its scale and success, seems astounding based on this account. The source really emphasizes how quickly the Dubai emergency services got there. Firefighters, police, paramedics on scene within minutes, it says.
And the numbers really tell that story. The source states over 3,800 residents were safely evacuated from more than 760 apartments. Think about that. Getting that many people out of a burning skyscraper safely.
It's incredible. And the most crucial detail, the one that's almost hard to believe from the source, through all that fire, smoke, panic, 0 injuries, 0 fatalities.
None reported, which is just phenomenal, really.
How did they manage that?
Well, the source seems to credit a couple of things. First, that rapid, really well-coordinated response from the emergency teams, but also the residents themselves, their cooperation, finding their way out in those conditions.
So official response and people's actions combined.
Exactly. It shows how vital both are.
Now, fighting a fire that high up, that's a whole different ballgame, isn't it? Not like a house fire.
Oh, absolutely. Huge challenges. The source talks about the effort to get it under control. Took over 6 hours, it says. Firefighters working flat out through the night.
And they had to get clever, right? The transcript mentions something about cranes.
Yeah, that's a fascinating detail the source includes, apparently shown in the video too. Using construction cranes to actually lift firefighters up the side of the building.
No way!
Yes, so they could get onto balconies high up, floors they couldn't otherwise reach easily, and direct water onto the burning facade from above. It really paints a picture of the specific tactics needed for these high-rise fires.
Using cranes like giant fire hoses.
Yeah.
And even when the main fire was out.
They stayed. The source says firefighters were on site well into the morning, damping down hotspots, making sure nothing flared up again. Constant vigilance.
Now, this source, the transcript, it doesn't just describe the event. It connects it to some bigger issues, right? Like broader safety concerns.
It does. And what's interesting, or maybe worrying, is that it points out this wasn't actually the first fire incident at the Marina Pinnacle.
Really?
Yeah, the source mentions a smaller fire back in 2015. Upper floor again. It was put out quickly then, but maybe it was, a bit of foreshadowing.
Huh. So this bigger fire, the source says it revived concerns.
Definitely. Concerns about fire safety across Dubai's skyline, which is full of these tall towers. And it brings up that really critical issue we see in high-rise fires elsewhere too, the exterior cladding.
Ah, the building skin, essentially.
Exactly. While the official cause is still being investigated, the source strongly suggests that flammable stuff on the outside likely aggravated the fire, made it spread so incredibly fast up the building.
That makes sense, seeing how it climbed like that.
It's a huge point the source makes. It notes that while Dubai's rules for building materials, fire safety regs, they've gotten much stricter recently. Buildings like Marina Pinnacle, which are older, built under earlier rules, they might still have this kind of cladding. So it's not just about this one fire. It raises questions about a whole generation of buildings in the city, an ongoing risk.
Okay, so beyond the immediate firefighting, what about the people? Thousands displaced. What support did they get, according to the source?
The source details quite a comprehensive response there, too. They apparently suspended the Dubai tram service nearby, partly to help the emergency response, partly for safety.
Makes sense with debris and all that.
And they put on shuttle buses to help people move around. Crucially, temporary housing was sorted out quickly for those who couldn't go back home.
That's vital.
And importantly, the source mentions mental health support being made available. Because going through something like that, the trauma is immense.
Absolutely. And there was that detail about pets again, wasn't there?
Yes. A really touching point the source includes. Amidst all the chaos, firefighters were apparently making specific efforts to go back in and rescue pets, dogs, cats left behind in the smoke.
That's amazing bravery, going back in for animals.
Totally. And the transcript specifically mentions a video clip that went viral showing a firefighter carefully carrying a little dog down all those stairs. Apparently, it got huge praise online, a moment of compassion in the middle of a disaster.
Yeah, that hits home. Shows you what matters to people, even then.
It really does. Homes aren't just walls and furniture, are they? They're lives, human and animal.
So, the investigation now, what does the source say about that?
Well, it confirms it's formally underway. Building engineers, forensic teams, they're all over the site trying to figure out exactly how it started and why it spread like it did.
But the source keeps coming back to the cladding, right?
It does. While stressing no official cause is confirmed yet, the transcript repeats that suspicion multiple times that the flammable exterior materials played a big role in how severe the fire became, how quickly it moved. It seems to be a central theme in the source's narrative.
The upper floors and quickly spread along the outside cladding of the building.
Response.
Flames were visible from across the city as videos flooded social media, showing bright orange fire licking up the sides of the tower, debris falling, and thick smoke blanketing the area.
Acknowledging the potential risks from buildings built before the latest rules kicked in.
It sounds like this fire is definitely prompting a rethink, or at least a closer look.
Seems that way. And on a pure practical level, the source includes a tip from safety experts mentioned in the video. For anyone living high up, keep an emergency bag ready, right by the door. Simple stuff inside: ID, phone charger, essential meds, maybe some cash, water.
A grab-and-go bag.
For many
It seems
residents,
small,
it was a scene
but
of
the source suggests
disbelief.
that in
A
that kind
normal
of
Friday
panic,
night turned
smoke,
into a nightmare
zero
within
visibility
minutes.
maybe,
Inside
having
the
those
building,
absolute basics ready to
confusion and
grab
panic
could be
spread as
crucial.
fire
It really
alarms
highlights that
blared and
individual
smoke filled
preparedness
the
piece
corridors.
alongside the big
Many
systemic
residents
stuff.
were already
Okay, so
preparing
let's
for
zoom out. We've
bed or
gone deep into
relaxing
the
when the
source,
alarms
this
went off.
transcript of the
Some
Dubai's
evacuated
fire
barefoot,
video. What are the
others
big
still in their
takeaways here?
nightwear.
Well, I think the
The
source
smoke
paints
was
this picture of,
especially thick in
first,
stairwells,
just the
and
terrifying
visibility was
speed and
limited,
intensity
making
of
it
a
difficult
fire
for people
in
to
the modern
navigate their way
skyscraper.
out.
How quickly normal life turns into a nightmare.
Right, the resident experience, the panic, the danger.
But then also this counterpoint, the incredible success of the evacuation. Thousands out, no lives lost, according to the source, which is remarkable.
And it throws that spotlight back onto building safety, doesn't it? Especially the cladding issue.
Absolutely. The materials used, particularly on older buildings, and the ongoing challenge of keeping these huge
Despite the
vertical cities
challenging
safe.
conditions,
That seems to be
Dubai's
a core
emergency
message from the
services
source.
acted
The source calls
swiftly.
it a wake-up.
Firefighters,
Yeah, and it
police, and
feels like
ambulance teams
a
arrived
stark
within
reminder,
minutes.
you know, even with
Over
amazing tech and fast emergency services,
3,800
we're
residents
still
were
vulnerable.
safely
Disaster can
evacuated
hit so
from
fast.
more than
It's just that everything's
760
connected, building
apartments in the
codes,
building.
response times,
An impressive
ease of
feat
getting ready.
considering the
It really does
scale
raise
and
that question
speed
for
of the
anyone living
fire.
in a big city, especially
Remarkably,
with lots
there
of
were no
high-rises.
injuries or
What does
fatalities
being
thanks
resilient
to
actually
the
mean?
coordination of
That's
emergency
the core of it,
responders
isn't
and
it?
the cooperation
Think about all the
of
layers
residents.
involved that the source touches on.
Go on.
Well, you've got the fundamentals. What the buildings are made of, the fire codes, are they actually enforced over time? That's layer one.
Okay.
Then you've got the emergency response. How fast, how well trained, how coordinated are the firefighters, the police? That's layer two.
Right.
Then there's us, individuals. Do you know the escape routes? Do you have a plan? Do you have that little emergency bag the source mentions? Layer three.
Ah, 3 layers.
And this incident, based on what this source tells us, it really makes you think about how those layers have to work together perfectly. It maybe prompts us to ask, where are the potential gaps? How do we make sure all those layers are strong enough to keep people safe when the unexpected happens, especially in these vertical communities we live in?